Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Sarah Smith, and you're listening to Raw Intentions. Welcome back. We're back in the studio finally. I feel like a real human being versus recording out of my bedroom, which is super nice. We're coming at you live from January 6th, so a hair past the new year. And I typically record some pseudo New Year's episode. So I'm trying to keep with tradition here, but I've been all fucking over the place. I'm coming out of the weird limbo that is the holidays from honestly Thanksgiving to New Year's. I feel like it was just such a clusterfuck, such a jumble of time. So I've got lots to catch up with you guys on today, as well as sharing some thought patterns, New Year's resolutions, manifestations, advice, and all the things. But before we get into this week's episode, I'll give you my little elevator pitch just in case this is your first time listening. So like I said in the intro, my name is Sarah Smith, Sarah with an H, Smith with a Y. I am 30 years old, live in Breckenridge, Colorado, and originally from Madison, Alabama, coming at you live from Denver, Colorado. So that's where our podcast studio is, where we typically try to record because the quality is just chef's kiss. It's been a while since I've done my elevator pitch. I'm a little rusty. I was incredibly broke in college, started making handmade jewelry out of my college apartment my senior year. I was also waitressing at Texas Roadhouse, just wasn't paying my non-existent bills. So as an avid shopper, I started making jewelry for myself and for my friends. And then I made an Instagram for it. And what started as me just making a little extra money kind of snowballed and turned into this massive thing that is bigger than I could have ever imagined. So it's still my full-time job to this day. I was studying rehab disability studies in Spanish to do bilingual occupational therapy. That obviously didn't happen. When I graduated college, my, I guess, quote unquote, at the time, business took off and I've been doing it ever since. So started with handmade jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, rings, earrings, all kinds of things. Now we don't do jewelry at all. We do apparel, we do hats, we do collaborations, events, weekends away, meetups. I do influencing now. I mean, the list goes on. So it's been really cool just seeing it take a life of its own and grow into what it is, like 8, 9 years later. And by far my favorite part, and I think what sets my company Raw and Rebellious, I think I forgot to say the name of it, at Raw_Rebellious on Instagram. Definitely give us a follow. But I think what sets Raw and Rebellious apart from other companies is the community. It's such like a living, breathing thing and would not be what it is without everyone that supports and follows and interacts with us every single day and shops our products. And that's what led me to start this podcast, which I believe now we're coming up on our third birthday, which is insane. I just wanted a lifeline to that community. I chat in our DMs with y'all every single day. We do meetups, we do events where I'm getting to meet everyone face to face. And I just really felt called to create a lifeline between myself and that community to not only have very raw and intentional conversations, hence the podcast name Raw Intentions, at Raw Intentions Podcast on Instagram. You know, I love to hear myself talk or else I wouldn't have a podcast, but I also get to have like incredible conversations with guests. I get to answer y'all's questions from Instagram and kind of expand on them. And it just gives me kind of a free, safe space where I get to say anything I want. It's like a Finsta, basically. I just yap on here without a care in the world and have gotten great feedback so far. This is going to be a solo episode today. Kind of like I said in the beginning, I do these every so often just to catch up with you guys about what's going on in my life, with work, with personal things that are ailing me or exciting me. And in the new year, I try to just share some advice, talk about things that I'm looking forward to in the new year, reflect on the past year, and just wrap it up. So we're a little late this year, but that's okay. And I've got my notes right here if you're watching us on YouTube. So let's dive into this week's episode. Trying to think of where I left off during the last solo episode. I remember recording out of my bedroom at the time because we were getting like dumped on in Breckenridge. And if you know me, you know my whole personality is skiing. So if we're getting snow, I'm not leaving. So I stayed home and recorded in my bed, which is what I did for like the first like year and a half, 2 years of having this podcast. But we'll take it back to Thanksgiving because I think that is when I recorded last. And it's so crazy to look back on in this podcast. Sometimes like turns into a diary for me because I get to look back on where I was and I talk very candidly on here. So you're getting the full story. It's like I'm talking to my best friend on the phone, except no one's talking back to me. So I went to Thanksgiving at my boyfriend's family's place, which is like an hour and a half from where I'm from. He lives in Birmingham. I'm from Madison, Alabama. So it's not too far. I haven't been home for Thanksgiving in quite a few years. Typically I'll go home in like October and spend time with my family because Black Friday, Cyber Monday is around Thanksgiving. And it's just such a busy time of year for me. And also since moving out here like 4.5 years ago, I just love ski season so much. And the slopes open usually beginning of November. So by that time, I'm like, I'm sad. I want to stay here. I want to be in Colorado. So October is just a good time to go home and see all my people. But my boyfriend invited me to his like extended family's Thanksgiving. His parents were hosting a big one. So we went. And also in that same vein, I had my full-time employee who I've worked with for years now. She kind of unexpectedly left and we were planning on parting ways very amicably a little bit later on in the year, but she decided to leave a bit early, which put me in kind of a tough position because then I had to fly back, extend my flight back to the Southeast because our office used to be in Atlanta and it's been there for a really long time because I used to live there. And I had to go there and pack and ship all of our stuff myself, as well as pack up our entire office because we were moving to a fulfillment center. It was a whole shit show. And I had like a week and a half to mentally prepare for this and to like change my flights and book all of these accommodations to do this. And this is just a really stressful time of year for me already. So that like sent me into a tizzy. I found out like right before Thanksgiving and I was skinning up, which is like when you have like these sticky strips on the bottom of your skis and you hike up the mountain. I try to do that like most mornings or after work just because it's a great workout. Always trying to get a fat, juicy ass. And I was like crying while I was going uphill. Like I was so fucking stressed. And the last few months have been really hard for me. And we can get into that. And I've talked about this on the podcast, just work wise. Holy fucking shit. It's just been a tough one. So I pivoted, went back to Birmingham for Thanksgiving, had the best time. My boyfriend's family is literally like the coolest family, better than I could have ever dreamed. I feel like in the past, with people that I've dated, that's never really been like a priority for me. Like I love my family and I'm super close with them and they're super cool. So I'm like, I already have a great family. I'm not worried about it. His family is the fucking bomb. Like they're just the coolest. And I got to meet like his aunts and uncles, his grandma, got to spend more time with his parents. And since we're long distance too, I mean, anytime we're together in our respective like hometowns or, where he lives in his hometown, we try to spend a lot of time with each other's families because we've gotten so close and our relationship is like so solid. But I feel like the people in our lives that don't know each other, like our families who aren't as familiar with each other, are still kind of catching up to that. And family is so important to both of us. So all that to say, it's always a priority for us to like really spend time with each other's families. But that is so easy because his family is the bomb. Anyway, so did that, chilled in Birmingham for a little bit, then went to Atlanta for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for the whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday extravaganza. Oh my fucking God. It was definitely one of the like hardest weeks for me. I mean, looking back, like I really just like went on autopilot, blacked out, which I do sometimes when I'm like so stressed that I kind of go numb a little bit. And I feel like I'm watching the experience like from like a bird's eye view, which is so weird to think about. But I got there on Sunday and I'd had anxiety about it, Thanksgiving, like that whole time, like it was always in the back of my mind. So I was ready to just fucking do it at this point. And I had like just like a pit in my stomach because I had no clue what I was walking into. I haven't been to our office in years. So I was just really nervous. And I knew that there were a lot of things like kind of left unfinished. So I had no idea. So Patrick, my boyfriend, came and helped me and like drove me up to Atlanta. And then my parents and my brother, who's also in town for Thanksgiving from Huntsville, drove up. And then our family friends, Helen and Chris, also came. They live in Atlanta. And I was honestly like a little stressed that all of these people were coming because keep in mind, I was just showing up to the scene. Like it was Sunday after Black Friday. Cyber Monday hadn't even happened yet, which is a bigger sales day for us typically. And I just didn't know what I was walking into. So not only did I have to like assess the situation, but then I had to figure out like how to delegate. Like, there were like going to be how many people, 6 people there to help me. So I needed to give everyone tasks because that was the day that I had everyone there. And I was like, okay, we need to make this as productive as possible. So I get there, we assess, everyone shows up, and thank fucking God, everyone showed up. And something about me, I cannot ask for help. I will tell you that I'm good, even if you offer it. Like, I just don't like inconveniencing people in that way. I don't know why. And I really need to get the fuck over it because it gets me in some really stressful, sticky situations. But my family, our family friends and my boyfriend all kind of like forced it on me. So I was like, okay, if you're positive, like you can help me. So we were there from probably like 8 a.m. until like 7 p.m., I'd say. And it was just like I mean, limbs everywhere, everyone everywhere, packing up hundreds of orders. Also, in the same vein, we're trying to organize everything and figure out and game plan like how we're going to get everything from here to North Carolina, which is where our fulfillment center is that we were moving to. Were we going to ship it on pallets? Were we going to ship it in boxes? What were we going to ship? We had to barcode everything. And so Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday were just like a total blur. Sunday and Monday were definitely the hardest days because I just like could not see a light at the end of the tunnel. I was like, am I going to have to move my flight again? Are we going to be here all week? And keep in mind, I was supposed to be in Colorado. I was supposed to get back that Sunday that I was getting to Atlanta, and I was shooting Rebellious Ski Club that week. We were supposed to launch that week. And so of course I couldn't be there to do that. So that set everything back. Everything that I had planned was like in the shitter basically. So I had all that on my mind too. So yeah, the whole 3 days were just a blur. We packed and shipped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of orders. It was a fabulous Black Friday. And really the goal with that sale was to try to get rid of as many SKUs as we can. And we've been trying to lessen our SKUs over the past year. And if you don't know, a SKU is basically like a product. So like say there's a blue hat and a red hat. So there would be a SKU for the blue hat, a SKU for the red hat. So we're just trying to like have less inventory and less variation of products right now. The sale was amazing in that way. Like we got rid of so much stuff because moving to a fulfillment center, you know, you have to pay to have everything stored there. So the less stuff I have there, the better. And I just want to simplify our website overall. We've been working on that for the last like 2 years, really. So we did that, got everything done. We barcoded every single product. We packed every single order. I'd have like my dad taping up and like making the boxes, my mom putting them in stuff, Patrick on the computer, my brother on the computer, printing barcodes and printing order slips. Like it was just like a whole oiled machine. And my family was so fucking incredible for this. They stayed longer than they planned. My mom got us a hotel like right by the office because it's in Woodstock. And I just like the way that they all showed up for me was just insane. Like I still can't believe it. And that really touched me. And like through this like dark kind of fog, that was like such a light there, was when you're in times like that and you see the people that show up for you and like kind of force their help on you for someone like me that refuses to ask. It's just a really beautiful thing. So could not have done it without them. My boyfriend had to go back to Birmingham for work and then ended up coming back to help, which again, thank God he did because there's no way we would have finished up. And I will say another silver lining of that whole experience was like getting my hands in everything again. It's been years since I've packed orders. And of course, when I started, like I had a notebook and I was hand making jewelry and I was writing people's addresses and their orders in a notebook and then writing them on the envelopes to ship them and like going to the post office in Auburn where I went to college and like getting stamps for each individual one. Like that's where I started. So it was really cool printing and packing the orders and seeing what everyone was ordering because I can see that online, but still like physically putting it in there was just cool. And then also seeing where all the orders are coming from. Like we're shipping all over the US and even outside of the US. So that was really cool. Like just a good reminder of, okay, you're not a failure. Cause I've definitely been feeling like a massive fucking failure. Or at least I had been over the last couple months. So that was a cool experience. And like overall, it was sick. We got it done, got back to Birmingham Wednesday and then came back to Breckenridge on Thursday. And we moved to the fulfillment center very successfully. It's been amazing. We've implemented with them and that's been really, really great. And now it all feels like a weight lifted off my shoulders, like transitioning into this new year. This is what I've been working towards for the last year is like getting all these ducks in a row to make this move to a fulfillment center. I just need more things off my plate. And I'm really trying to have less moving parts within my business just to simplify things and like cut costs. So we did all of that. We got it done. And yeah, it was great. So got back to Breckenridge, skied as soon as I got back. And then so that was a Thursday, Friday morning, I then leave to go to Jackson Hole, which is an 8-hour drive. One of my friends was supposed to come with me. She ended up not being able to, which honestly was kind of nice because I had an 8-hour drive there and back totally alone, which seemed a little daunting at first, but I was like, I've been in such like chaos and surrounded by people. I love being by myself. So I was like, this will be kind of nice. So I went to Jackson Hole for a pop-up with Midnight Lunch, which is a store that my friend Abby owns, who I'm dying to have on the podcast because she is just so fucking cool. And so I drove there 8 hours, got to catch up with some friends, beautiful drive, got there Friday night. And then the pop-up was on Saturday. So pop-up was honestly like, okay, as far as sales, it was really fun. Like there was a band there. Abby and like all the girls that work at Midnight Lunch are so fucking cool. So it was fun hanging out with them. And we were right at the base of the mountain in Teton Village. So that was cool. It was opening day. It was just really cold. Like I think we were expecting it to be kind of like a spring skiing day where it was like sunny and nice. And I think if that was the case, it would have done a lot better, but it was just like freezing and like kind of snowy. So that was not the best. And for pop-ups, I have a goal typically of doing at least $2,000. And my best pop-ups, I've done like $7,000 in a day or in like a few hours. So it's kind of what I was hoping for this one because I was traveling so far and whatever, but we didn't hit 2000, which is totally fine. The experience was still amazing, met lots of people. I think I was just like kind of exhausted. But after the pop up, I went to dinner with Abby and her boyfriend, Alex, and that was just so fun. I think I'm at the age where I almost have more fun, like getting drinks and like having like a really long, nice meal and like very intentional, profound conversations versus like going to a club and like, jumping up and down and shaking my ass. Of course, that is fun. But I don't know, it just felt so much more meaningful. And I know Abby, but like not super deeply. And I don't really know her boyfriend. So I feel like I just got to know them on such a deep level and they're so inspiring and they're so cool. And we literally just spent hours at this little Italian place at the bar, drinking and eating and chatting. And that was really, really cool. So all in all, it was a great trip. I mean, definitely not a wasted weekend. And at the same time, Gloria, who I met in Denver, who's been doing pop-ups for me, she ran 2 pop-ups for me in Aspen and 1 in Copper that same weekend. So that was really nice. And it's been really nice because I can kind of be 2 places at once with her because she's fabulous. So then on Sunday, it was such a quick trip. I turned around, drove 8 hours back. I felt like I'd just gotten there, but I didn't really have time to stay. Didn't get to ski. So I went back and got back to Breckenridge at night. And another thing that I'm always trying to think of like, okay, what was the purpose of this trip? If say it doesn't do as like monetarily well as I think. Obviously, Abby is just so inspiring to me. And I think being friends with people that are just fucking crushing it or doing something different than you or doing it in a different way, whatever it is, and they're just good people is so important because it makes me want to be better. And I learn so much just from like being around her. And I have so many friends like that. And I'm so, so lucky to be in that spot and surround myself with people like that. So that was really cool. Like definitely felt inspired by her business wise. And then another thing we chatted about, and I talked about this on the podcast, maybe a couple of solo episodes ago, where I'm thinking about the possibility of getting a physical space, which I've never thought about, like a storefront. And I was talking to Abby about it because she owns that storefront in Jackson Hole. And she was like, you should not, because I was thinking about Denver. She was like, you shouldn't get one in Denver. You should get one in Breck. And I was like, yeah, but it's more expensive. And there's like mud season, which is essentially like off season where no one comes to the town. And she was like, no, I promise you, like you will do so much better in a ski town. It's more unique. People are like on vacation, just spending like fuck tons of money. And it's like no competition because you're in this like tiny little town. So you kind of become a staple of that town. So now I'm thinking I want to try to own a store in Breckenridge. So that's my goal. And it's something I'm putting out there 2025, 2026, whenever it's meant to be. I want that, not the Denver one. So we're changing our little manifestation here. So maybe that was what was meant to be from that trip too. So when I got back from Jackson Hole, and I typically don't work on the weekends, but I have been for the last like month, I shit hit the fan this week. This is like also the first time I've cried on camera. I've been vlogging on YouTube for the last couple months. And I mean, I had like 3 panic attacks and just like could not stop crying all week. Like I was just I was in despair. I was in a state of despair. I am working with a new manufacturer to get our hoodies at a lower cost so that we can wholesale them while still keeping the same quality of them. Got the first shipment in and they were all wrong, especially one of them. This brown hoodie is like a totally wrong color. And if you look on our website, we're selling it for half off because I got like 80 of them and like there's nothing I could do. I had a mental breakdown about that because typically, I mean, we're supposed to launch Rebellious Ski Club like in November and it was December. It's like a week or 2 before Christmas at this point. Like it's so fucking late. Nothing was going right. We had all these plans for Rebellious Ski Club where I was going to do like a sweatsuit with like a sweatpant and a matching sweatshirt and like all of these things. And so I was having to like, again, pivot and reimagine what Rebellious Ski Club was going to be. I was having to pivot and reimagine. I mean, this is probably the worst Christmas we've done in a long time. The Black Friday, Cyber Monday was amazing, but the holidays are usually huge for us, but we didn't put out anything in time because nothing was ready because everything got fucked up and we're moving fulfillment centers. So that was really upsetting to me. And like, of course, money is always a stressful aspect, but I was just like pissed and like, the holidays and Black Friday are always such a great marker of success for me, of like growth, of like, okay, what did we do last year? What can we do this year? So yeah, I was really stressed this week. I also didn't get any time off over the weekend. And again, it was like 4 weekends in a row that I had been working, which I never ever do. So I was just like burnt out, fucked up, sad, anxious, stressed, didn't know what to do. And I got really, really sick. I remember like 2 times during this time, which was also horrible. I wonder if it was just my body like purging all of the anxiety. And then also in December, I did another pop-up in Breck, went to a really cool influencer event in Aspen at Cloud9 that my friend Grace Donner was hosting. It was with Red Bull. And I got to like stay at this bougie hotel in Aspen for free and like go to my first ever like influencer dinner event situation. And it was so cool. Cloud9 is the big opera place in Aspen where you see people like spraying champagne and stuff at the top of the mountain. So we got to take a snowcat up and go at night with like a very small, intimate group and did like a cocktail making class at dinner. It was so fucking sick. I was like not feeling well at the time. So yeah, I remember being like a little bit out of it, like just sick wise. But other than that, it was a really cool experience and really thankful that I got to go. And then my boyfriend came to visit for 3 weeks. So I actually just dropped him off at the airport yesterday. And that was so much fun. We're long distance. So we try to see each other once a month. We realized that like going 6+ weeks without seeing each other is like no bueno. Cause then I start to forget like what he looks like or sounds like, even though we can FaceTime. I don't know. It's just weird. If you're long distance, you understand. And him coming to visit for 3 weeks was so fun. I was a little nervous just because I have 5 roommates. Like I've always been the single roommate and I've had roommates and friends with boyfriends that just are so fucking annoying and not self-aware and like are in your space and like always try to make small talk with you and just like can't coexist and or that they overstay their welcome. And I did not want to do that. I think I've been single long enough to be just very self-aware of that. So we tried to plan it to where he was only around like in the house for a certain period of time. So we got in town. Then I got really, really sick, like fever, everything for like 2 days. And then I was on the mend. So we skied. I got him an uphill set and we went uphilling, which was really fun because he's never done that. Like I borrowed one from my roommate's boyfriend and we just like hung out and it was so great. And then we lived in a van and that was a highlight. I am now like fully wanting to buy a van and just have one and like live out of it. We were in it for 7, 8 days. We went to Winter Park, Steamboat, and Aspen. And I also got it through Brand Deal. I have a discount code, or I'm getting a discount code also. It's for Vancraft Rentals out of Denver, Salt Lake, and San Diego. So I'll put it in the show notes once they give it to me because they haven't given it to me yet. I think it's going to be like for 10 or 15% off if you want to rent one, if you're listening. It was just the coolest experience ever. It is such a nice van, has everything you need. The bed is so freaking comfortable. Very spacious. We got the Rover, like the L Rover. That's like the model that we had. And it was just so fun, like getting to go ski everywhere. We got new snow every single day in every town. I used to live in Winter Park. And so it was so cool being back because I haven't been back to ski since I lived there. And that was just very nostalgic and cool. I'm obsessed with Steamboat and it was great too. With the Winter Park Steamboat and Aspen, Patrick had never been. So he was seeing all of it for the first time. And we just like skied every single day, went to fun dinners, cooked out of the van, drank every single day. Like, holy shit, I need an alcohol break. My face is so puffy now, I feel like. But yeah, just had the best time. And I mean, that's definitely a big test, you know, like being in a van together for that long. What if we get on each other's nerves, whatever, but we were fine. We had a blast. I would have stayed in it for longer. We spent Christmas in the van, which was really cool and had like the best ski day. We wrapped presents. I ended up going to Safeway the night before, which is like a local grocery store because everything else was closed. Because this is Patrick's first Christmas away. And I'm also Jewish. So like I've always done Christmas because my dad's not Jewish, but I don't really care like that much. But I do love Christmas. And it was his first Christmas away, Catholic King. And so I wanted to make it really special. So I went into Safeway because everywhere else was closed. And I begged the employee that was working to let me like take some of their decorations, their Christmas decor off the wall so I could put it in the van. And he gave me like 4 things to decorate our van with, which is so funny. And we like wrapped presents, did the whole thing, skied all morning. Like I said, fresh snow every single day, like 3, 4, 5 inches. It was amazing. And then we cooked this like massive breakfast. And by we, I mean him, and had eggs, bacon, FaceTimed our families, opened gifts, and then got drinks with some friends that live in Steamboat. Then cooked this fabulous dinner of like lamb and veggies, all again in the van. And it was just like such a cool memory. It's our first Christmas together. And yeah, I'll never forget it. And then what else did we do? As far as showers, that was the one thing. There's like a shower attachment in the back of the van, but it's freezing. So we couldn't use it, obviously. So we showered once in Winter Park at the rec center. We had to like go buy flip-flops from a shop and then like go in, and we had towels and stuff. So that was kind of funny. And then we stopped in Breckenridge in between Steamboat and Aspen to get all my pop-up stuff. So we showered at the house, which was really nice. But yeah, 10 out of 10. It's like glamping basically. And I now want to own a van. So hopefully that happens soon and I'll manifest that into my life. I did 2 pop-ups in Aspen. That's why we were there. And honestly, the pop-ups were awful. Like barely made $1,000 over the 2 days, which again, typically I like to do at least 2,000 per pop-up. And I don't just measure pop-up off of monetary success, but like there was like no one there. It was the weirdest thing. And I don't know if it was location, because it was right in between Christmas and New Year's. I thought it was going to be like pop in, and it just was not. And I was disappointed too because I wanted Patrick to be at a pop-up with me that was like one of like the cool pop-ups where there's like so many people, great vibes, whatever, but it was just like empty. So that was annoying. But I also like have to remember that last season, I didn't even start doing pop-ups until like March. So the fact that I have all these connections and I'm starting so early is still great. And it's a good lesson. Like every pop-up is a lesson, every new experience is a lesson. So maybe next year I don't do any in December and I wait until January, we'll learn as we go. But it was still fun because we got to go to Aspen together. We went to like Hotel Jerome, French Alpine, and just got like the bougiest, most expensive drinks and dinner and bopped around. And we were laughing. We were like, we are definitely the only ones sleeping in our car after leaving this like $300 dinner. But it was a really good time. And so that was good. And then we hung out in Breck, my roommates and I hosted a silent disco for New Year's, which we did last year too. It was so much fucking fun. Started Jan 1, like I always do, hungover and depleted of dopamine. I love candy flipping, doing rooms together. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that like on YouTube, but it's like my favorite combo of drugs. So I did that and just had like the best night of my life per usual. And this is our last silent disco. We did one last season or last New Year's and this New Year's, but then we're all moving out of our house this coming October. So won't be able to do it again, but it was a great week. We got tons of snow in Breck. So we skied every day. I barely worked, which is ailing me now that I'm like coming back to reality the first Monday post holidays. And my roommates had a blast. Patrick was great with them and like helped out around the house and like made himself like useful, which was really nice, like shoveling and doing a bunch of what my roommate calls blue jobs, like jobs for boys that only men should have to do. So we had fun. And then this past weekend, I guess, what was that? Saturday? A couple days ago? I don't know. All my days are so fucked up. We came to Denver because the conversation is still ongoing of where the hell we're going to live when we're not long distance in October, because we'll move in together once my lease is up and he owns his house in Birmingham. So we're just trying to figure out what that looks like. So we came to Denver and just like bopped around, looked at different neighborhoods just to see and get a pulse on what's going on. But what's so fucking annoying is the houses are so expensive here. Like I'm talking like the most rundown piece of shit house is like $850,000. It is dumb. And I'm like, we're not in Aspen. Like this is fucking Denver. Like I do not understand why they're so expensive, but every cool area is expensive. So that's frustrating because of course in Birmingham, you can get like a McMansion for like half the price and it's so nice, but I just really don't want to live in Birmingham. So yeah, we spent the day in Denver and bopped around, ran some errands. And then he left yesterday, which typically like we're good. Like I don't mind long distance. And now I'm like totally fine. I could not stop crying when he was leaving. Even thinking about him leaving a few days prior, I was like sobbing, which typically I'm not a crier. Doesn't really faze me. I'm always sad to see him go, but I think it's just because we spent so long together. Like we were together for like 3 weeks straight and he was in my house, like doing all the things with me. We were just like kind of living normal life together. Well, we were on vacation, living in a van and stuff, but still like I think just spending every day together and then thinking about him leaving just like bummed me out. But then we talked about it. We're like, what a cool problem to have. What a amazing thing that you get to miss someone so much and you love like, spending every day with them and doing life with them so much that it makes you this sad. And now us both being back in our routines and stuff, like we're good. We're very independent. I'm fine now, but yeah, it was very, very sad. And another nice thing about us being in the van and being in such close quarters, I think every time we hang out, we like, grow a relationship and get to know each other better and just get deeper in our conversations. And we had a lot of really great conversations just about like our future and what we want and where we're going to live, which is definitely a hot topic. And right before we went on the van trip, I've talked about grievances with like conversations with my parents, and my parents and I are so close, but they are absolutely famous for giving me like the most intense and solicited advice that I do not ask for. And I was having a very normal conversation with them. They asked about Patrick's job or how his like end of year reviews went. I said that he got a raise and did amazing. And then they absolutely laid in on me about what we should do for like where we're going to live one day. And it was just like the most upsetting conversation. And it really, really upset me. And I'm honestly I'm still holding a little grudge towards it because it's already such a tough subject for my boyfriend and I, like within our relationship, because we both love where we live so much and we have these lives that we've built. I mean, I'm 30, he's 31. Like that's the hard part about dating when you're older is that which I don't even like to say when you're older, we're not 50, but you have your life and like you have your things. And so that just makes it really hard to mesh lives together if they're different. So it's already hard enough and it already stresses me out. So for them to be like hammering me about like why I should live in Birmingham and why I should give up my life and like, oh, well, he makes more money than you and do you even see Ron Rebellious going anywhere? Like just making fucking whack ass comments. And I was like, where do you get off? I was so upset. And I literally told them, and my roommates were laughing. They were on a road trip. I was like, why don't you take all of your thoughts and opinions, write them down, crumple them up, and throw it out the window, like on the highway? Like, I do not want to hear it. I was just so upset. Like, I did not ask their advice. I would ask their advice at a point when I like feel ready to talk about it, but it's such a personal subject and it's already so emotional to begin with. Like, I cry every single time when I talk about it just because it's so hard. I'm like, where the fuck do you get off? Also, it's definitely an insecurity for me. Like, I know that he like makes more money than me and has a more stable job than me, but I also believe in myself. I know that I have the potential to make a fuck ton of money and be a breadwinner. And I love my job and I'm very driven. So for them to like voice these things of like, well, where do you even see Ron Rebellious going? Like blah, 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 blah. Or like telling me that they think I would be fine and happy in Birmingham when I know I wouldn't be. Like, where the fuck do you get off? It just really upset me. And I still feel like I kind of have them in timeout. Like I've been talking to them, but I haven't been talking to them at the level and like telling them at the level and sharing things that I typically do. So yeah, that like wrecked me for a few days and I was really, really upset about it. And it's been like 3 weeks and I still am pretty upset about it. So yeah, definitely icing them out. But yeah, it was great having him here, but I'm also happy to be back in my routine. I haven't had a full work day or a normal work day. I've just been like chipping away at little things here and there while we were living in the van and skiing a ton and doing all that. So it'll be nice to like start getting up early again and doing things. Although it is funny when I talk about like getting back into my routine, I'm like, I'm about to be traveling so much this month. I don't even know when that's going to happen because I'm in Denver for a few days now to record podcasts and spent the whole day yesterday at a coffee shop. It was really nice, just like catching up on stuff. Also, side note, so I got to stay at that hotel in Aspen for free recently, which was like the first time I've ever gotten to do that. Then here in Denver, I'm staying also for free at a hotel called the Moxie in Cherry Creek. It's so fucking cute, so nice. And Bree, who I'm having on the podcast and I'm interviewing later today, owns a PR agency and works with the Moxie. And I met her at the Aspen event. And she was like, anytime you need a place to stay in Denver, I'll hook it up. So I'm staying there literally for free for 2 nights. I mean, like, what a dream having a hotel room to myself after all of this chaos. And it's so cute. It's so cozy. They're also giving me like credit to eat and drink for free at the hotel. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So that's cool. And I'm manifesting a lot of that in 2025, traveling for free, influencing things. I'll talk about that later. But so that's been a really cool opportunity. But after this, I'm hosting my first hosted girls weekend in Breckenridge with an Airbnb. So I have 11 girls coming to Breck on Thursday. That's in a couple days. And then the week after that on Wednesday, I leave for MLK weekend to go to Whitefish, Montana with Patrick's family, which I'm so stoked about. Then I get back and on Tuesday or Wednesday, I go to Steamboat for a couple of days. Then I have friends visiting that weekend and we're going to Aspen because I have a pop-up. Then the weekend after that on Thursday, we're leaving, me and my roommates going to Utah and skiing at Alta Snowbird, Park City. So I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to have any routine or make any time for myself in the next few weeks. And this is all like the bed that I made for myself, whatever that phrase is. Like I do this to myself where I just overbook myself and I know it'll all be fun and it'll be great. And I'm also really bad. Like when I'm even thinking, how am I going to make time for myself? I forget that when I have plans on the weekends, I still have the weekdays where I can do whatever I want. And I have that time to like go to bed early, wake up early, ski, catch up on work, read at night, all those things that like give me the comfort and give me the stability that I love within my routine. So I'm really bad about like future tripping. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, it's already March because I'm so booked and busy for January and February. But that's just simply not the case. And it's funny too, because, you know, I live with 5 girls and I'm so extroverted. I mean, I could talk to a wall. I definitely get energy from being around other people, but I think I'm the one in the house that needs the most alone time, which is funny. So if you think I'm extroverted, like all my roommates they just love like hanging out all the time. And I do sometimes, but I get so overstimulated and overwhelmed from traveling so much and from my work because it is so social. So I need like so much alone time where I'm reading, unwinding in my room. I have the lights dim. I have my red light lamp, my sunset lamp, my music playing, my candle on. Like I need those comforts to like recharge and go to bed early. Like I'm just a routine girl. And the older I get, like in my 30s, since I just turned 30, I'm a routine queen and that's just something I need, which is funny. So I don't know why I get so overstimulated, but that's always nice too, is even though I do live with so many girls and I love them so much and like we have so much fun together and hanging out and we do everything together, I also really need my alone time. So it'll be nice to get that when I get home, at least for a second. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to the last couple months. As far as work, I'm just really hoping my luck turns around this year. And that's what's been giving me hope is like, okay, in 2025, it's going to be okay. In 2025, it's going to be okay. So now let's have that come to fruition. And I really do think it will. Because I just need to stop being a weepy ass, anxious mess. It is so unlike me. And it just, anxiety doesn't look good on me. Like, we're done here. I'm just done being sad and anxious all the time. So honestly, as hectic as December was, and even though I was still traveling and doing things nonstop, it was still nice just to get a break in my routine. I feel like I am refreshed, and traveling always makes me feel really good, and going to new places and being outside and skiing always helps. So I definitely feel less burnt out than I was. I still am craving some kind of break. Typically, between Christmas and New Year's, I'll give myself that time off to just like dig off and do whatever, because we're not really like doing much as far as like selling things since it's right after the holidays. But I just didn't have time to do that this year. So still craving that break. And I'm just hoping that I can find small moments of that with, waking up early to go skin in the morning or to go ski or to be outside or even just go to the gym, like things to like turn my brain off and move my body and do the things that I know make me feel good. Journal, because I really haven't had time to journal much in the new year yet. And another thing with work, and something that I've noticed over the last couple of months, and I don't think I talked about this on the last podcast, but I talked about it on my YouTube channel, is when I'm feeling really down with work and when I'm having all of these like work woes, it's funny because I feel like all of my friends in business, because I have so many friends that are small business owners, entrepreneurs, creators, influencers, everyone I know is like fucking thriving right now, like crushing it, like leaps and bounds, doing amazing things with their work, with their podcast, with their brand, like everything. And my gut reaction for sure when I was just down in the depths of my despair was to be jealous, to like want their success and be envious, where I'm like, I want it. It's not fair that they have it and I don't. Such a good lesson from the universe, though, and trying to take it. I definitely did talk about this before, like trying to take it as rather than being jealous and wanting it like from them. I think it's the universe like giving me a mirror and showing me, like, look who you surround yourself with. Like, use them to see like what your potential is and like what you could do. So I also, anytime I'm feeling jealous or insecure, I try to go out of my way if there are people that are making me feel more insecure. And again, that's my own problem and my own train of thought. I try to go out of my way to be really supportive and like complimentary of them. And that's helped me feel better about myself and just put me in a different mindset. And I also have to remind myself, and this was a really great reminder talking to Abby, who owns Midnight Lunch, who's definitely someone in my life who like has been fucking crushing it recently. And I'm so proud of her. But when I was in my like depths of despair, I was like, fuck, like everyone's doing so well. Like she's doing so well. Why am I not killing it like she is? You have to also remember, and this is a great reminder for anyone, especially with social media being so comparison heavy, you are only seeing the final product. Like, even if you are just coming to me right now and you see that I've got a big following on Instagram and have a podcast and a YouTube channel and all the things, you are not seeing any of the days where I was like on my floor in my college apartment making jewelry, or crying in my basement in Atlanta during COVID when I thought I was gonna have to go back to school, to graduate school, because my career was gonna be over, or like all the moments in between and all the building blocks. So you're only seeing the finished product. And I think about this too. It's super easy to see someone else crushing it in the same industry as you with a niche product or an incredible idea and want to try to carbon copy their success. Because we all want to make money and be successful. And if it's working for that person, then maybe it would work for me. Like, I've had those thoughts for sure over the years. And that's another thing. You have to put your blockers on and be like, no, I have to stay in my own lane. And when I was packing and shipping these hundreds of orders during the Black Friday sale that we got, it reminded me of my own times of immense success. Like the things I've released that have caught fire and popped the fuck off. So I thought to myself, no, I don't need to copy and paste what someone else is doing. I need to see that it's possible for them, and then remind myself that I've been there too. I have done things that like have been so wildly successful that I haven't even, taken a second to realize that. And so it's just a great reminder, and something I'm going into with 2025 is I'm excited to create something that will pop off, like things that I've done in the past, like the UGG dupes that we created, or the upcycled Chanel necklaces, or just random things or necklaces when I started that went viral and like were crazy and that I was making a fuck ton of them. I need to generate my own success and just stay in my own lane. I don't need to do what someone else is doing. So that's what I'm trying to think. What is my next viral sensation? What is something that is going to catch fire with people? Because you never know what it's going to be. So that's another like work goal I have, is figure out like the last thing that was crazy for us was the Cypress platform, which is like the UGG dupe for the Has platform sliders. I came out with those a couple years ago when like you couldn't buy those UGG dupes anywhere. And it was fucking insane. Like, never sold so much in my life. So I just need to figure out what that next thing is. And it's coming. Like, I will. Like, everything's cyclical, everything goes up and down. So that's a good reminder. Another thing that I've been thinking about with work, these are just like bigger thoughts that I have. A couple months ago, I saw a video on Instagram. I wish I saved it to like know the name of the creator, but I can't. I just remember what it was about, but it really stuck with me. It basically said that if you look across different creators, fashion companies, and designers, you will see congruencies and similarities. Like, for example, maybe J. Crew launches a print on a shirt that a local artist in your town just used for a paint collection, or maybe you're the local artist and you just use the same design for a collection that you just released. And it's natural for us to get frustrated, especially if we are the creator of something. If you see what you created elsewhere on something else. And I've been there for sure where I'm like, oh my God, this person's copying me, or oh, this is so unfair. Or like, why is their product so similar to mine? But this video really flipped my perspective on that. For example, if J. Crew puts out that shirt that, say, I painted on a canvas for a collection 2 months after I painted it and released it. But you have to understand that that probably means that J. Crew created the same design like a year or more ago, because production takes ages. So this means that rather than feeling frustrated, feel energetically connected and a part of something so much bigger than yourself. It's like the War on Art book that I always quote about angels whispering ideas into people's ears, like these muses from another plane of existence. Like when Beethoven created his symphony, the angels and the universe whispered that melody into so many people's like minds, but Beethoven was the only one that did something with it. So rather than feeling frustrated with, things being similar across the plane of creativity or in the fashion world or whatever pocket of creativity you find yourself in or creation, now I'm thinking of it as like, holy shit, we are all so energetically, creatively, spiritually connected by the cosmos and other like unearthly and earthly beings, that we have the same thread of consciousness on some level as other people and similar ideas. And sometimes ideas are left up to interpretation, and one idea could be interpreted by 10 different people in 10 different ways and mediums. But sometimes maybe something is interpreted almost exactly the same. And how beautiful is that? It's such a mind fuck and just such like a brain flip for me. Like, I am excited to view creativity and view fashion and view product in that way, that how beautiful that we're so connected, that we came up with something kind of similar totally on our own with, of course, like the aid of like all of these other, worldly energetic things. We're all connected. I just love that so much. But I definitely am going into the year feeling more invigorated than I was. I hired a few new people, like I said, that I'm really excited about. Not only are we still onboarding some people, but I'm hiring 2 social media girls, which I've never done before. That's another thing I got from Abby when we were chatting at midnight lunch at the event. She has a social media girl that is amazing. And I've just realized that like I need help in that realm. I'm getting so burnt out. And since I've also been growing my personal brand with influencing and my YouTube channel and the podcast, I just don't have as much energy to give across every single platform. So by hiring girls to help me, I just want a fresh perspective. I want a fresh mind, and I want someone to come in and like make Ron Rebellious even better than it already is. Like, I am still the face of it and I still do all the socials, but I want to have other people involved in it. I mean, community is such a huge thing for us that like, let's have that community represented on socials more. Like, I'm fucking tired of taking videos of myself, and I'm sure people are tired of seeing me. I want to have more people a part of it. So that's really exciting. Getting help with, editing videos, which is really cool. And I'm still going strong with YouTube, trying to do it once a week. Still very small. I don't have very many subscribers, nor do I have many views, but I'm getting better. The vlogs that I started with are trash compared to the ones that I'm doing now. And I'm sure in a year, I will think that the vlogs I'm doing now are trash, which is great. Signs of growth. But I've been really excited with it. And it's been a fun medium to play with and to learn more about. And I'm really trying to make it fit into my day to day and into my life, so it's not adding too much. And then influencer things, I am still going strong with that and trying to really grow my account in the next year. I feel like ski season is my time to shine, living in the mountains and having a unique perspective. And I think everyone has, of course, a very unique mind and a very unique way that they can show up on social media. So I try to think of ways, this isn't Ron Rebellious. This isn't my business. This is just my personal brand. Who am I and how do I want to show up to other people? What can I provide in this space that I don't feel like is already being provided in a very like unique way? Like, what unique perspective do I have? One series I'm doing is I'm doing like 30 days of outfits, ski outfits, where I go skiing. This is my outfit either for uphill or for just skiing on the resort. And rather than just like showing an outfit with some music in the back, I'm also providing like a thought or a quote or something that I find really meaningful, because I just fucking love that shit. And I feel like I am pretty good at giving advice, or at least like writing down and sharing other people's thoughts and taking it and giving it to other people. And I think that just provides more value than just like showing a fit check. So I'm really excited about that. I posted the first one yesterday and it popped off. And so hopefully that series will be great. I'm doing another series on Raw and Rebellious where I just talk about business and the things that I've done and kind of reintroduce myself on the platform. And I just feel like series are the way to go. People like to know what's coming and know what to expect. And that consistency is super key. We're also currently sourcing so many new products for 2025 and 2026, which I'm really excited about, and really trying to get everything for Rebellious Ski Club for next season designed right now so that I can shoot it this ski season and just have it ready by like October, November. So that's really exciting. I'm feeling really good about that. And then another thing I really want to manifest in with influencing stuff in 2025 is the hosted trips. I'm doing one this weekend. I have 3 international trips, Bali, and Greece in like this year. And then I also had another company reach out to me that is kind of like Trova Trip, the one I'm currently working with, to do more hosted trips. So that is like a dream for me, to be paid to travel and bring people together and essentially be a camp counselor. Like, sounds like a fucking pipe dream that I had, years and years ago. I'm obsessed with traveling. I've always grown up traveling, and it's something that I love so much. And I love bringing people together and kind of being a connector for other people to make new friends and relationships. So that's really fun. And yeah, that's just some stuff I'm looking forward to with work. I mean, and then the only other thing I really want to talk about is just the new year, right? Our resolutions, our manifestations, things I'm working towards, and just any advice that I have to give, because I think I'm good at giving advice. But if you're like me, I mean, first week of January, you're probably feeling behind already because you haven't checked all the boxes, done all the manifesting, done all the reflecting. I always have just so many things I want to do at the end of the year and the beginning of the next to really like get my mind right. So if you're already feeling behind and you're like me, stop right there. I haven't set a single New Year's resolution yet, nor have I reflected on the year, manifested, or done any of the witchy shit that I like to do. And January 1st and the new year is such a fun, beautiful representation of a new year, new leaf, fresh start. We love it. Time is a construct, but it's still just like such a fun little human thing that we do. I'm all about that shit. And if I had the time, I would be on it. But the holidays are fucking crazy. Traveling, seeing family, buying gifts. So I just want to say, like, if you're waking up hungover Jan 1 like me and you have scaries and you're already like wondering how to catch up and you're looking at everyone else doing their vision board and stuff, with the weird limbo between Christmas and New Year's where time literally does not exist. You have time. You have space to put your foot forward. Okay, sorry guys. I guess there was some kind of double booking on the podcast studio. And as I was doing my solo episode, these 2 guys came in and said that they had also booked the podcast studio. So we had to take a little break, a little commercial break. You may not even be able to tell, but just in case I sound slightly different or if the camera angle is slightly different on YouTube, that's why. But anyways, I'm just going to jump right back in because I've got lots of episodes I'm recording today. And that was a minor setback for a major comeback. This episode is still gonna fucking rock your socks. But anyways, we were discussing New Year's, manifestations, all the things. And like I was saying, I'm a huge fan of New Year's. I'm a huge fan of Jan 1. I'm a huge fan of this construct we call time. But I guess what I was trying to say is that it's okay if you are still just trying to gather your bearings from the craziness that's the holidays. Don't feel guilty and just don't start the year feeling behind. I think that's like the worst thing you can do. You're just feeling guilty for absolutely no fucking reason. I think if you have the time and space to, step into the new year as a brand new human being, that's incredible. I wish I was one of those people. And hopefully one day, I was just talking to the other guy that left as he was another podcaster. And he was saying that he wants to get to a place financially where he can take the whole month of December off, which I'm like, that sounds fucking awesome. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that, but if I could get like 2 weeks off in December next year, another thing we're manifesting, then I'm doing it right. So yeah, don't feel bad. Also, I recorded an episode last week with my friend Nicole. She is this like incredible medium, spiritual healer, intuitive girly, and all around woo-woo coach. And if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it right motherfucking now, especially if you want like a reset and you want to get more into your spirituality in the new year. I learned so much from that episode. That was like one of my favorite episodes of this past year, or I guess of the new year, since it was our first episode of 2025. Oh, and also speaking of Nicole, she chatted about Rise, which is this amazing community program workshop mentorship to really get you into your divine self, feel aligned, learn about meditation, mindfulness, and all the things that we talked about. And it's interactive. She gets on there. You can ask her questions. And it's this amazing group of women. I'm going to start it this month. And she gave our listeners a discount code for 50% off. So use code RAW50 at checkout and you'll get 50% off your first month of Rise. And I'll see you guys on there. If you join, let me know and let me know what you think. Anyway, I'm going to repeat some stuff that she said that I took away that I'm also taking into 2025 as I step more into my intuition, my spirituality, and my witchiness. Something that she said in the vein of like, don't freak out. Don't rush on your New Year's resolutions. And I remember Anna Grace said this a couple of years ago when I had her on my podcast, is if we look to nature, January 1st and being this like whole new version of ourselves is actually not natural at all. She said that we should look to nature for how our internal energy works because we are reflections of nature and nature is still in winter rest and recharge state in January. So don't feel like you need to rush or hurry to figure things out. The astrological new year actually doesn't start until March when Aries season begins, which is also when nature begins to blossom into spring. So how cool is that? It's perfectly okay. You're not behind. Bears are still hibernating, I think. Isn't that a thing we all learned in science class that we still think is true? And the trees are just still chilling all bare and naked and the grass is brown and decayed. When things start to bloom, you can too. You're allowed to wait and figure it out and figure out who you want to be. Whatever timing you have is perfectly okay. I did slightly lie though. I have started reflecting and setting intentions like ever so slightly as of yesterday. I'm still not done though. Okay. Like not even close, but I'm just trying to be relatable. I also cannot lie to you guys. I found some Vyvanse that I bought in Mexico this past summer at their pharmacies. They literally sell like every kind of drug you can imagine. So accidentally bought a ton of Vyvanse and like $200 worth of Xanax, which like never took Xanax in college, was never my thing. Never taken Xanax in my entire life knowingly, although I think there was a situation in college that we can get into another time. But I took some of my Mexican Xanax at the coffee shop yesterday. And after I finished working in my methed out state, I wrote out and just like brain dumped some stuff. We're not even close, guys, though. Don't worry. And I did a little reflecting. I caught up on my 1 line a day journal. And I said earlier, I'm feeling rejuvenated. I'm feeling re-inspired, which is the best feeling. I'm finally feeling like back in my own body. And looking back on January 2024, a year ago, which I would highly recommend, I am in a totally different phase of life. And I love this trend. I saw it going around on Instagram where it's like the cover photo is like a photo and it's saying like, I didn't think I did anything this year, ... And then the next slide is like a list of accomplishments. It could be a bunch, could be a few. And it's just a reminder that a year is a long fucking time and you've probably done a lot that you don't even realize that you've done, which is why reflection is so important. I would say that's like the first step before you figure out what you want to do next year. Take a beat to see like where you've come, how much you've grown, what you've been through, and the things that you used to dream about that are now your reality. So I did this exercise. I did this on Instagram and then I kind of expanded on it yesterday in my methed out state. And there's just so much that's happened. I mean, this year, this was in June, I decided to become an influencer on my personal account and I've surpassed 10,000 followers, which is really exciting. I've had my first ever paid brand deals this calendar year and opportunities unfolding from that. So I did the van craft trip. I'm staying in a hotel for free currently. I am hosting trips. I have gotten like tons of free clothes and things that I actually really love and skincare and PR packages and a whole ski kit and like a percentage off on my Icon Pass. I mean, the opportunities are flowing in and it's showing me that it's definitely like where I'm supposed to be. But a year ago, I didn't have any of this. I alluded to this. I'm hosting 4 trips this year, 1 this weekend in Breck, and then 3 of them international in 2025 with 20 plus girls each. So that's fucking sick. I also last year pulled off 2 massive collabs with 2 amazing friends of mine, Handra, who does I 70 Things, and Grace Donner, who is an influencer, and pull those off for ski season. That was sick. And it just makes me more excited for like the collabs that are yet to come and yet to unfold. I started YouTube vlogging, which to me, like for years, I was like, I'm never fucking doing YouTube. Like that's just a whole nother realm that I do not need to dive into. I'm doing it. Yeah, that's right. And I'm freaking it. 3 years of this podcast. How insane. I moved to a fulfillment center. Another thing that I've been dreaming about for so long. We're growing our team at Raw and Rebellious, which is so exciting. I've hired 4 new people, 5 new people, 6 new people in the last year. So that's fucking sick. And I'm really excited to see like what they do for Raw and Rebellious and how they can kind of aid in our growth. I almost rented a real life storefront, like I said, but even though I didn't, that still opened my brain up to the possibility, which I've never thought about in my life. I fell in love with a man that just happened to be my soulmate. Thank fucking God, because I'm so tired of dating. He treats me better than I thought I ever could deserve and healed so much trauma unknowingly on his end from my, toxic past relationships and things that I didn't even realize I was carrying with me. So that's really cool. I made a ton of connects with within this different ski towns, which just kind of happens from living out there naturally, and have fully booked out pop-ups for like the rest of the ski season. Like I don't even know if I have any room for extras. So that's been sick. Finally able to wholesale our apparel. We'll really dive into that this coming ski season because this is just a new development for us. It's something that I've been wanting to do for 2 years. So that is sick. I almost made merch for Mount Joy. Do y'all remember that? I did cry when it didn't happen, but they're coming back to Red Rocks in August. So we're manifesting that it actually happens this year. I lived in a van for a week, which like, hello, dream of mine for years. Still living in my dream house for this next ski season, which who would have thought last year that I was going to get to re-sign my lease in the best place ever. I'm slowly becoming a better skier every day, every week. I'm challenging myself and trying to get better and hopefully get my Abby certification this season so I can do more backcountry stuff. I've made new friendships. I turned 30. Holy fucking shit. If you haven't listened to that episode, that's definitely like one of the favorite episodes that I've ever recorded in my whole life. Also, this time last year, I had pizza face. Like my acne was so fucking bad, worse than it has been like all through my life in puberty, everything. And the doctors thought I was gonna have to get on Accutane and I ended up healing it. It was like this time last year that I finally started getting like topical stuff that actually worked for me. And now my skin, if you're watching on YouTube, is almost flawless. I mean, my scarring's almost gone. So that's huge. And I seriously was like so sad about that. So insecure. And so it feels really good to have that healed. So first of all, my recommendation to you is to take a second to recognize all the good things that you've done. So many of these things felt impossible to me a year ago. And like I said, a year is a really long time. We can forget what our goals even worse. Like, did you set New Year's resolutions for last year? If you did, go look at them. I bet you completed some of them and you didn't even check them off. You didn't even realize you did it. And another thing I learned now as we dive into some of the other things that I'm looking forward to and working on for this new year and trying to implement into my life. I learned so much from Nicole's episode, the last one we did. And one thing that I really took away is little like spiritual things that I can habit stack into my life and just get more spirituality and get deeper into my intuition because I really want to tap into that. And habit stacking, by the way, if you don't know, is basically taking something familiar that you do easily and automatically like every single day. And right before or after that thing, you stack a task or a habit that you want to become habitual, that you want to become automatic. For example, if you're working on making your bed, you can habit stack that with brushing your teeth. So before you brush your teeth, you cannot brush your teeth until you make your bed in the morning. And hopefully brushing your teeth is something you do every single morning. So you're finding this example relatable. If not, then you got to fucking start brushing your teeth. That should be your first habit that you're stacking. Anyway, Nicole gave great advice and really applicable advice that felt very attainable, doable in baby steps for how to habit stack with spirituality. So here's a few things I'm going to start doing and you guys should try it with me if you're interested. We talked in that episode about the spiritual power of showering, which I thought was so fun and so interesting. Something to do with like the metal and the water ions, like all mixing together. It's some scientific thing that I honestly am not even going to get into because I don't know. And showering, obviously it cleans you and gets all the dirt away, but it also is supposed to be very spiritually cleansing too. I've always felt that way, how showering feels very ritualistic for me. It's a marker in my day because I always shower at night before dinner, before I go to bed. So it's a marker in my day that I'm like done working and I'm changing into my PJs, into my cozies, and it kind of sets my nervous system back to a lower level again. If I'm really stressed or feeling anxious, that hot water, because I do lay down in the shower, which was like kind of fucking weird, but I just like it while I gua sha and do all my things. While I'm laying in the shower, that hot water like hitting my chest and like being able to put like my hand on my chest, that's a very like calming thing for me. And doing my whole ritual of like my skincare and all that, because I do a lot of skincare in the shower before I do my nighttime routine. It just calms me. So it's cool to know that that actually, again, intuitive, hello, women, we are so intuitive, that it actually is very cleansing for you, like for your soul, for your spirituality, to go to sleep, for your mind. So some people shower in the morning, some at night. Personally, like I said, I shower every night because I don't like getting in my bed all dirty and it just resets me. And she said, yep, A+ student over here, that showering at night is actually energetically preferred, but obviously do whatever works for you. So to take it a step further, to make it very spiritual, you can actually set intentions with your shower. This can look like anything. Before you get into the shower or while you're there, you could say, I am washing away my stress from work. I will step out of the shower and will choose to forgive my roommate, whatever that is. And you can say that out loud. You can say that to yourself. You can say that before you get into the shower. You can say it while you're in the shower. Again, habit stack. Say, hopefully you use some kind of soap or body wash every day. So when you're putting on your body wash, maybe that's when you're saying your mantra. Or when I'm gua shaing, which I do every single day, that's when I can say my mantra. So I think that's a really good way to implement these things that you want into your life. And you can also say any mantra you want. You can say it in your own voice. You can say it from something you found on Pinterest. Pinterest is a great place to find mantras if you're looking, or ChatGPT probably. So then when you step out of the shower, it's like this ritual. It's like this experience. and you will feel even more cleansed and you will be even more cleansed. She also said, as far as body wash, speaking of, salt scrub is really good. And again, it's something with like the ions of something or other with the salt, but a body scrub that has salt in it. And she was like, you could literally get something from like Trader Joe's. Like it doesn't have to be like anything fancy, is also really energetically powerful and energetically cleansing. So that's another thing that I literally bought a couple days ago. A few more easy habit stacking things that I'm going to try that you should too. One thing she said to kind of protect your energy each day and set intention going into the day is when she wakes up, she puts a shield up. So you can physically go like this if you're watching on YouTube, like shield, like think like bubble, like a hamster, like ball that you can like run around in, like a clear ball. You are shielding yourself, and you could just say shield up. Or you could say, today I'm shielding myself from stress. Today I'm shielding myself from negativity. Today I am shielding myself from gossip or drama or unhealthy habits or whatever it is. You put that shield up and it spiritually just protects you from whatever happens that day, which I love. I mean, we are bombarded with so much, especially on our fucking phones. Like when I'm on mushrooms, I can't even look at my phone. It's like this scary like black hole of just like shit. And so by putting that shield up, that's how I think of it, is like, cause I asked her, like, how do you stay energetically protected from social media? Her job's on social media, my job's on social media, and everyone fucking spends hours on social media like it is our job, doom scrolling, all the things. So by putting that shield up, it's supposed to help you and not let you get like negatively affected or soak anything in that you don't want, that you're not prepared for. Cause we don't look at our phones like with our guard up. We're looking at our phones more just like either out of habit or like because we just want to turn our brain off. So I like that a lot. So when you get up, you can think about it as you set your feet down or when you first wake up or while you're brushing your teeth, like, because we got to brush our teeth in 2025, put the shield up. And so that's something I'm going to start doing. And then you can put it back down before you go to bed. Then every morning I make coffee for myself and all of my roommates. So I'm whipping it up in the kitchen. So while I do that, because I don't really like to check my phone first thing in the morning, I am going to start listening to morning meditation. So if you look up on YouTube or on Spotify, there's plenty of like really short morning meditations, because I'm not someone that can like sit in my bed, crisscross applesauce and like, just blank, let my mind wander, because then I will fall back asleep. That's just not how I meditate. I meditate more so in movement. Like when I'm walking, when I'm skiing, when I'm doing things, because I'm so ADD, it kind of lets my brain rest and like actually get in that meditative state. So morning meditations just involve like mantras and kind of setting yourself up and getting your mind right versus like waking up and just scrolling on your phone, which something that I implemented last year and the year before, and I've talked about, is sleeping with my phone outside of my room. That's something else I would really recommend if you're looking for things to try to just like help your mental. It helps me sleep better. I plug my phone in outside of my room and then I'm in bed. I can read, I can focus. I'm not like laying in bed doom scrolling. Because when I didn't do that, I would like be on TikTok for 3 hours and then be like, oh my God, it's 1 a.m. What the fuck am I doing? So that really helped me a lot. So while I'm making coffee, while I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, while I'm like half awake and the house is quiet, I'm going to start listening to morning meditations. And yeah, like you could just Google one. You can find ones, YouTube, Spotify, they're free. And then another thing that I like is frequencies. And she talked about that too. There's like morning frequencies, there's calming frequencies, there's hard work frequencies, deep sleep frequencies that you can look up on Spotify or YouTube and just play those in the background while you're working, while you're getting ready in the morning, while you're going to bed. So these are all very little easy things that you can do. I mean, I'm typically listening to music anyway, so I can just click something else on my phone and make that a habit. And the last thing that I'm taking from her, and I love this idea, is asking yourself the question, is this mine? This is more of a train of thought than a habit per se, but something that I want to get in the habit of doing in my life overall. And when you ask yourself, is this mine? For example, if you are feeling stressed out at work because your boss is like maybe your team hasn't met your quota yet. I don't know anything about corporate. I'm just making this up. Your team hasn't met your quota yet and your boss is putting a lot of extra pressure on you. And so you're feeling like innately stressed. So number one, I think the important thing is anytime you're feeling a negative or positive emotion, have the ability and like the groundedness to trace it. Like if you're scrolling on your phone on Instagram and all of a sudden like you're feeling like really icky or anxious or your heart's racing, take a pause and be like, wait, whoa, what did I see that made me feel this way? Did I see my ex with a new girl? Did I see an old friend that I don't really talk to anymore? Did I see something that reminded me of someone that passed away? Like what made me feel this negative emotion? So have the ability to trace that back. And that's just a practice and a muscle that we can work. Then once you are feeling that emotion, you know where it came from, ask yourself, is this mine? Is this stress mine? Is this anxiety mine? Is this judgmental train of thought mine? Where is this coming from? Do I feel pressure because I'm single? And do I feel sad about my singleness because I'm sad about it? Or because I just got off the phone with my mom and she asked me how dating was going and when I'm going to start having kids and I don't have a boyfriend? Because if you think about it like that and you trace it to that, you realize, wait, no, this isn't my stress. This isn't my sadness. Like, this is someone else's emotion. And it's really not my problem, not my responsibility, and none of my business. So give that back to them. You don't need that. And that comes with putting the shield up, all of those things. We're just trying to get, more intuitive, more honestly, just like grounded in happiness this year and like more in tune with ourselves. Because if we know ourselves, and that's another thing Nicole talked about, it's all within. We all have all of this within us. So here are some easy ways to access it. So I love that question. Is this mine? I will absolutely be using that in 2025 and beyond. A few more New Year's resolutions, and these are just super loose because I just kind of brain dumped these yesterday on Vyvanse. Gaining more time back with work, like having more help this year, and just I want more fucking time. I've been talking about this for over a year. I'm tired of working. I'm in my I want to relax era because I'm just getting burnt out. I want all of our margins to be amazing on all of our products, so that we're making more money on each product that we sell. And that comes with, fine tuning the quality, fine tuning who we're getting our stuff made from, and just having less shit because we're making some fucking bank this year in 2025. I want to plan things farther ahead with work. So launches, products, I want to have them done, shot, everything so that we can launch them earlier and not be as stressed. I want to focus on community and future with work with all the help that we have so that I can then focus on planning more. I can focus on my goals. I can focus on cultivating that community, bringing people together so that while other people are helping me with like the day-to-day things that kind of take up so much of my time, I want to rewrite my own rules more versus getting too bogged down with my routine and processes in business. I want to question things. I want to keep my head up versus like down and in the trenches. I want to grow my influencer account on my personal and work with more brands. I want to find my voice with my influencer account and figure out how I want to show up on socials. I know that that can change, but I want to be pretty clear with that because I think that's how you really grow, is to niche down. I want to grow my podcast always and stay consistent with that. I want to grow my YouTube channel and stay consistent with that too. I want to continue making reading a priority at night and shutting my laptop, my phone, my work off at night. That's something I've gotten really good at this year, is like boundaries with work. And sometimes I lose that during ski season because I'm skiing during the day and my schedule's a little more regular, but I've still been pretty good at making it a priority. So I want to keep doing that. Also, like I said, I want to keep sleeping with my phone outside of my room. That has totally changed my life, my sleep, everything. I want to continue making catching up with friends a priority. I want to soak up all the travel I get to do this year because this year I'm not like 10 weddings deep. I have like maybe 1 or 2 weddings, I think, which is nothing for me. So I want to be selfish. I want to travel. I want to soak it up. I want to enjoy it and be selfish with like the vacations that I take, because typically when I'm in 1,000 fucking weddings, that's a bachelorette and a wedding. So what? That's like 12, 13 trips right there. So at that point, I'm like, I have no money or time left to do anything. So we're traveling for me this year. I don't want to wish time away. I'm coming up on a lot of transitions in my personal life, and I want to enjoy this last year in our house in Breckenridge, just like dream spot on the mountain, ski in, ski out, hot tub with like the coolest roommates around. Because I think this is the last year I'll probably have roommates. I'm sure I'll move in with my boyfriend this calendar year. Like by the end of 2025, I'll live with him, which will be so fun. And I'm so stoked for that. But I don't want to be so excited for that I'm not present now, because this time is like the best time of my fucking life. Like living in Breck with a bunch of girls. Are you kidding? So definitely want to soak that up. I want to become a better skier. I always want to work on my skiing, my form, all of that. I want to volunteer with BOEC, which is the adaptive skiing program in Breckenridge. I did that last year, helping people with disabilities ski, and it was so fun and fulfilling. So I definitely want to make time for that. By the end of the year, I hope to buy a house wherever we end up, hoping it's in fucking Colorado, manifesting that. Buy a house with my boyfriend and us move in together. This could be like January of next year, but still. I don't want to get so worked up on things. That's something I'm always working on, is like chilling the literal fuck out. So hopefully with all this mindfulness stuff and protecting my energy, I will keep that at bay. I want to stay fit and healthy. I'm really, really happy with where I am right now with my health, with my body, with my fitness, with my ability to do things and my strength. And so I want to keep that up. I want to keep it up with my skin too. Like just, keep it looking right and tight and feeling good. I want to prioritize sleep when I can. I think I've been a lot better about doing that this past year. And I want to continue to just get that early bedtime in so that when I'm waking up at 5:30, I'm actually getting a solid amount of sleep and not like 4 hours. And then of course, is this mine? I want to let go of things. I want to ask myself, is this mine? I want to take the responsibility away from other people for my happiness because I'm the only person that can control that. I'm the only person that is responsible. So I think that's another thing that I really want to work on is lowering my expectations for others, because then that way, if you lower your expectations, you're just happy all the time and you don't get disappointed. And that's just to name a few. Of course, I'm going to have a million more. A piece of advice I'll give if you're creating your manifestations, your goals, for peak effectiveness for your resolutions and your goals, use I am and I have statements for all your hopes and dreams. Write them, think about them, and visualize them as if you already have them and they're already yours. This way, the universe will open up and give you those things on a silver platter. It's just such a powerful way to manifest. So, for example, the first one, gaining more time back with work because I'll have more help. I would actually write, I have so much free time and I'm able to enjoy my hobbies, my interests, and relationships because I have a flourishing, successful, helpful team. Like that. Another thing I've talked about and that I think has changed the game for me is the importance of archetype, choosing a persona, a character for yourself, and envisioning how that person lives their life, what they eat for breakfast, what time they go to bed, what skincare they do, who they're friends with, what kind of books they read, what they talk about, everything. Write it all out, vision board it, and start there. That will help you build the smaller habits to get to that goal of who you want to be, your dream, most aligned self. And my friend Tati, who I posted about this, she has a podcast called Bedside Podcast. She created this incredible manifest journal, which has really helped me like dive into that whole archetype thing. You can use code RAW11 at checkout and they're on her website. I'll link it in the show notes. So it's a great way to start. It's such a good quality notebook. Like it's just a fucking good journal. And I'm a whore for journals. So I really love it. And in thinking about how not to give up on your resolutions, because we all set all these goals in January, everyone's at the gym January 1, and then by February, everyone's kind of lost it. The smaller habits I just referred to are really like the hack 101 for not giving up quickly, because you must have processes if you want sustainability. You can't just create massive goals with zero plan and then expect somehow to achieve them. And a few things, in my vein of advice, if you really want to make changes are to number one, make clear plans, steps, processes. If you want to be healthier, then what will you eat? How often will you work out? What lifestyle changes will you make? Where can you fit these things into your schedule? Like, what can you actually make time for? What day are you meal prepping so you don't lazily go out to McDonald's because you have nothing prepped after a long day at work? So I think that's really important. And that brings me to the next important thing, which is starting small. You can't say you'll work out every single day if you've never been a workout girly. So you can start by making small goals and then working up and building up on those, because you have to start by trusting yourself. If you make these big goals and then immediately give up on them, you lose that trust in yourself and then you're not going to keep going. So if you want to be a gym girly, start by going for a walk twice a week and then maybe add a gym session once a week. Then add another gym sesh. Or it doesn't have to be weightlifting or going to the gym. You could go to pole dancing or skiing or join a rock climbing gym. I mean, working out and being active does not have to look one way. So pick what works best for you and try a bunch of different things. Another thing that helps with this specific goal and just goals overall is an accountability buddy. I remember a couple of years ago, my friend Nadia and I used to chat once a month, which we should probably start up again, where we'd share all our goals with each other per month and ask each other clarifying questions like, okay, you want to do X? Well, how will you get there? Why do you want to do this? And then the next month we could talk about what we did, what we didn't accomplish, and why. And it's awesome, totally judgment free. So pick someone that you feel very close and safe with, but it keeps you talking about it and it keeps you thinking. And yeah, same with working out. You could get a gym buddy and it helps so much and just makes everything more fun. Another thing I think is important is to stay really consistent. You set resolutions on Jan 1 and then you forget about them and that just doesn't do anything. So I would hang them on your room, put reminders on your mirror to look back on them. I create yearly goals. I create monthly goals. I create weekly goals. And I'll even put in my weekly goals, like, hey, check back in with your month goals, or for my goals for February, hey, check back in with your New Year's resolutions. I write everything down and it kind of gets to a degree where it's maybe a little over the top, but if I don't do that, then I'll forget. And then it's June and I haven't looked back at my New Year's resolutions at all and I've gotten nowhere. So I think that's really important too. And lastly, I think in order to really achieve what you want and be your dream self, you need to take inspired action. If you want to meet your soulmate, but you don't branch out, you refuse dating apps, think of yourself as undesirable or undateable, don't put yourself out there, sit at home or go to the same bar with the same group of people every single weekend, no shit, you're not meeting anyone new. So you have to get out there and get after it. Put yourself in those situations physically, like mentally prepare for that and think of yourself as like the hottest bitch in town and do whatever you have to do to feel that way because you will exude that energy. But then also put yourself in those situations, go to a bar, go to If you're in college, go sit in front of the business school or in front of the doctor school if you're trying to get a sugar daddy. I don't know, like just physically put yourself in those situations. And I mean, go to a sports bar. I remember when I was single, my friend Rachel and I had a pact, another accountability buddy, to go on at least one new date a month. And, it's like, oh, you should do more than that. Like once a month isn't that bad, but it honestly like takes a lot of time and it took a commitment. And sometimes it would be like nearing the end of the month and I would just like plan a random fucking date with a guy on Hinge. But it took the seriousness out of dating and made it more fun and silly. And then you had a buddy to do it with. So when you had a bad date, you could dish about it versus like just going through it on your own. So that really helped me a lot. But yeah, get after it, do what you want and put yourself in the situations. And in the realm of setting like the unrealistic drastic goals instead of starting small, I totally understand wanting to start like a refresh, like dry January or trying Whole30, but I do have kind of a hot take. I feel like, and this is just from experience, if you feel like you have to stop drinking for an entire month or cut out an entire food group, shouldn't that put a magnifying glass on your entire life and like your lifestyle? And I say this again from experience because I used to drink so much and rely on alcohol so heavily, like to be social and to go out and do things. And that was really the only hobby I had. And it was to the point that I never even did dry January. I relied on it so heavily. I didn't even want to try dry January. And I was like, I don't have a problem. This is fucking sick. I love this, which like, I don't think I had an alcohol problem, but like, I definitely also am like, maybe I kind of did. And now I'm at the point where I don't feel like I abuse any substance or eat or like live my life in such an excess unhealthy way that I feel like I totally need to like cut something out cold turkey. And I feel like similar to crazy goal setting and not following through, it just sets unrealistic expectations and doesn't really implement like real sustainable habit changes. I was talking to my roommates about this actually, and one of my friends pointed out that the Whole30 whole like diet thing that she did for a month made her cook more, and she used to never cook and only eat out. And so to this day, she still cooks and like took that habit with her. So I get that. And if dry January shows you that you don't require alcohol to go out and have fun, that's awesome. More often than not, though, I do think that cutting something out completely encourages a binging behavior. And after that month is over, you black out harder than you have in forever, or you eat more junk food than you normally would because you restricted yourself so hard. Again, this comes from a retired and conformed restrictor, binger, eating disorder girly with food and alcohol. And I recorded a whole podcast episode about that a while back if you're interested in hearing that whole spiel. I just think if you feel the need, you should try to make more sustainable changes, like subtle changes in your life that are more doable and make more sense to implement into your everyday for the entire year, because that actually creates change versus some sort of crash diet. And that's the same with socials. I think deleting Instagram or TikTok or Twitter for a month is amazing. And maybe that will make you realize how little you need it. But also you could just try limiting your daily use if you're concerned about how much you spend on your phone. Like I said, like sleeping with your phone outside your room or taking the first hour of your day and not touching any technology and getting outside and going for a walk, whatever that looks like for you. Because I think those smaller limitations will actually last the whole year and possibly forever versus just not having it for a month and then falling right back into old habits. Like that doesn't really encourage any kind of like longevity. That's just a thought though. And for real, guys, we're not vaping anymore in 2025. Like we're done with that. I'm over that. I don't know how that's still a trend. I don't know how that's still a thing. I'm not trying to shame anyone, but y'all, like, I just want everyone to be healthy. I feel like it's so bad for us. And like your lungs, I just want everyone to have sexy longevity lungs that you can climb mountains with and have hot, dirty, passionate sex forever without needing to hit an inhaler. God forbid, needing like medicine for lung cancer or something. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like vaping. So I'm sorry if that is feeling targeted to you, but that's just how I feel. And that's about it. That's all I have for today, which is perfect timing because I have a podcast guest walking in any second now since we had our little interruption delay. I'm really excited to dive deeper into my manifest. I love getting woo-woo with all this and really taking my time and visualizing what I want. I think actually at the girls' weekend this weekend, we're going to vision board and journal and chat about all of this. And I never collage really or vision board. I feel like it'd be right up my alley. It's just never something that I do. So I think that'll be super fun because we're going to do all of that together. And it's so funny in my despair over the last couple months, I literally said out loud a few times, I was like, why the fuck do I have a podcast? Like I was ready to quit this podcast. I really, really was. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. What's the point? This takes so much time. I'm so stressed. And I swear without fail, anytime I say that out loud or anytime I think that to myself, I get a DM from one of y'all telling me how much you love the podcast, how this episode resonated with you, how you learned something and like your takeaways. And even just like one DM a year, one DM a month changes my life and makes me feel so good. I'm so happy that people love this podcast and have takeaways from it. And of course, it's the comparison and it's just like, what am I doing? Am I wasting my time? I don't make any money from this podcast. This is just me coming on here to yap in my free time. But I do feel like it's meaningful and I am really excited about it. And it does allow me to create connections with y'all and with other people and with the guests and all the things. So I really almost quit or took a very long hiatus, but I'm really happy I didn't. It feels so good to be back in the studio, sitting here, chatting on a microphone and imagining y'all on your way to work or a hot girl walk or listening and learning. 2025, we've got so many fun guests, topics, inspiring stories, and new people to meet and learn about. Plus, you'll get me yapping your ear off because I'm obsessed with hearing myself talk. But that's all I have for you guys this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. DM me, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions or advice for me. I'm still working on my 2025 and workshopping that. So I want to hear what you guys are manifesting and what y'all are trying to bring in the new year, what you're thinking about, what you're struggling with, and how I can help. You can find us at Raw Intentions Podcast on Instagram. We drop new episodes every single Thursday without fail. Even when I think about quitting, I still show up. You can listen anywhere you get your podcast. If you like what you heard, leave a like, rating, or review. I love hearing from y'all, and it just helps us as we continue to grow. Also, feel free to slide into our DMs anytime. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, if you have something you want us to talk about, or you just want to chat about something that you heard, I'm always here to chat. And that's all I have. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I will chat with y'all next week, and Happy New Year. See ya.